Happy Hump Day. Greetings and happy Hump Day, happy Hump Day, happy Hump Day. It's another Wednesday. I'm Dr. Valerie Renee Shepard coming to you live from the Hartley Center for Mindfulness and Self-Mastery, where self-mastery is defined as mastering you in your life so that you can exquisitely manage whatever your life brings your way. Like a belch in the middle of your sentence. Good morning, good morning. The Hump Day Happy Chat is my weekly little teaching to help you create a life that you really love, a life that really inspires you, a life that feels exquisite when you're going through it, a life where multiple times a day, not even once a day, multiple times a day, you're saying things like I say, like, oh my gosh, I live such a charmed life. And oh my gosh, thank you, angels and ancestors, for what you've given me and how it's unfolding in my life right now. And the gratitude just feels deep and rich. And also, you feel this rising, like you were just in this process of a beautiful ascension. So here at the Hartley Center, we're about the spiritual dynamics that govern our universe and how to activate those spiritual dynamics while you're walking in the body physical in the illusions and potential delusions of the third dimension called Earth. So how can we bring that which is not of this earth into the experience that we're having right now in the density of the earth? And one of the densities is the demise of the physical body, how the physical body shifts and changes, takes on disease, debilitation as a part of the soul incarnate to leave. To leave this dimension, to return to higher realms. So let's talk about death and how we manage it and what other deaths we can actually orchestrate. And I'm not talking about murder, the crime of murder. So recently, I've had experiences with people close to me dealing with the deaths of people close to them, the death of loved ones, or they're preparing for that death through something known as hospice care. It is a dynamic, multifaceted experience, emotionally, physically, mentally. It can be incredibly challenging and it can be debilitating, especially when you get into your perception of what's happening without adding to that human eyes perception, human brain, mental machinations about the dynamics, especially when you do that in the absence of heart-based, intuitive, spiritual wisdom about the dynamic. And remember, all appearances can be deceiving. What I mentioned just a minute ago about the illusions and delusions of the third dimension. So in the concept and in the process of every dying, there is a rising. There is an opportunity for a rebirth, which is the source for like deep peace and celebration. Like in the idea of death is birth, a rebirth. I've said before in the Hump Day Happy Chat, one of my favorite lyrics is, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. That's from a band called Supersonic and their song called Closing Time. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Isn't that interesting? You can't stay here. So in the death of the physical body is also wrapped up in that, the rising of the soul to reunite with the source of light that it is, that it has always been, that you maybe don't see as readily because of the earth suit known as the body. So, in fact, there is not a declining. There may be in the way we handle the physical body after the soul has departed. There may be the descension into the earth, or there may be the burning in terms of a cremation. But there's a rising that comes from shedding the earthbound physical body and returning to the pure light of creation. And when you think about this in terms of a couple different things, you can get some like, can I feel at one with this? Can I feel at peace with this? Can I stay in a place of higher vibration with what might be breaking my heart? With what might be the saddest period of my life? Last year, there are a couple of Hump Day Happy Chats from me on the Mediterranean coast in the south of France. And at that time in August, one of my oldest, longest standing, dear heart sister girlfriends made her transition while I was away. And I'm very grateful to her daughter who held the phone so I could show the altar spot I had made for her, the prayers I was saying for her. And we could share one last transmission, even though I was thousands of miles east. It really broke my heart that was her time to return to the light. And the things that helped me get through were this idea, this concept of we never really are in this demise, in this decline. That's not really where we are. So you can think about it, the mythical bird phoenix, who is known to have risen from the ashes. What a lot of people don't know is the phoenix in many stories in the myth, knowing that a new way could not be found for it to continue being it. And it would only happen through the death of its worn out habitual patterns of being the phoenix. The phoenix itself built a pyre of aromatic wood. I've read that it was cinnamon and myrrh. I love the scent of myrrh. I anoint myself with myrrh at different times for spiritual purposes. So the phoenix built a pyre of myrrh wood and cinnamon, sat in the flames, and burned itself to death. And then it rose from the ashes as a completely transformed being. Some say an amalgam of who it had been before and who it is becoming. An amalgam, the creation of a new version of the phoenix. And when we talk about rising from the ashes, in the spiritual sense, we're talking about awakening or ascension, which is a process of transcending the lower level dynamics of this dimension. Awakening is not about throwing it all out. It's about transcending while including. It's about this is real. Where I am is real. The debilitation of my physical body, the disintegration of certain relationships, the inability to do this or have that. Those things are real, and we're not talking about the spiritual bypass of just don't pay attention and be happy. It's not about that. It's not about that. It's the process of rising beyond the limitations, the perceived limitations of the beingness that we call ourselves, that we see ourselves as. It's the very highest level of a holistic human consciousness to ascend into the place of the I am nature of you, the Christ consciousness that you are, the divinity that is awake inside you and wanting to be expressed into the world as you. That is your magnificent essence. That's what's in the title of my book. When it says living happy to be me, notice the ME is capitalized. That stands for magnificent essence. The true deepest level of happiness is from rising into this spiritual ascension where you have a deeper knowledge about yourself, self-awareness, the first pillar of self-mastery, and the world around you, self-acceptance, how I'm fitting in the world and how the world and I are interrelating. I am one with that. It's a broad, sweeping process through your entire life about rising in yourself. Spiritual ascension is about shedding the old self and expressing from an inner self, an inner rebirth. Rebirth, the rising. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Even if that beginning was 80, 90, 100 years ago, a new beginning can happen right now. It's a matter of choice. The spiritual ascension while staying in the physical body, while remaining in the physical body, is the most magnificent rebirth opportunity. You don't have to transition out. You can just get the wisdom, embody it, like you're being rebooted or you're being upgraded. Here, in terms of your vibrational frequency. In terms of your vibrational frequency. So how can you see every death, metaphorical and actual, every death that you experience as an opportunity for you to actually reboot, for you to upgrade your understanding of what you are and what you came here for, what you are and what you're doing here. What are you doing here? What are you being here? Let's talk about death. Let's talk about dying. The ultimate death that you want to experience while you have the blessing of remaining in the physical body is the death of the false self. The death of the ideas that you have about yourself, about the others in the world, about the world itself and how it works. Like that is a death that I call you into actively pursuing. I invite and encourage you to pursue the death of the things that no longer serve you, that are holding you back or keeping you down, that are actually the anchors of your own decline in your own life. And yes, We can mastermind subconsciously our physical decline because of the false self and the ideas embedded in the physical body as vibrational pockets of energy, low, low, low vibrational energy. You are living an inside out experience of life, which means creating it from the inside. And that's about your ideas of yourself, your relationship with everything that you come into contact with, and how you go about the doingness, the doing nature that you choose in your life. Let's talk about death. What are you willing to put to death in your life right now? What are you willing to put to death? A great place to start is in my world, what I named my negative conjurer. She was a part of my young self that protected me by anticipating bad things happening. And as my adult self, this voice would conjure the horribleness that could show up at any moment. And by conjuring, I mean, kind of like bubble, bubble, toil and trouble, sitting over the cauldron, looking into the cauldron and seeing the different players in the experiences that I had who were out to get me, who were doing certain things, who were saying certain things, who were being a certain way that wasn't what I wanted. And then recreating it like over and over. And I had to lovingly put that aspect of me to a metaphorical death, meaning, thank you so much, negative conjurer. Wow, have you protected me and served me so beautifully to watch out, to be in the energy of watch out. Something wicked this way comes, watch out. And I so appreciate having you be a part of my experience and protecting me throughout my life. And now I'm calling you into a quietude, like a permanent quietude. Because I have grown and evolved, and I'm feeling pretty safe, pretty courageous, pretty tenacious, pretty insightful, pretty intuitive, pretty supported and guided by the highest highs in the universe. And so I'd like to go on without the conjuring of the wicked and horrible. I love you, and I want you to come back into the wholeness of who I am and release me into my awakening. And as my awakened self, my commitment to you is that this continuing spiral will mean our experience of life and the world will actually be joyful. And we will also be protected and nurtured and loved. I love you. Now die so that I can be born anew. So do you get it? It's not about beating that aspect up. Think about it. Where did I learn to anticipate difficult things? Because of a difficult thing, and I don't even know what that is, that happened and imprinted on me. Not bad or wrong necessarily. Not necessary. in my life now. I don't need to be run ragged by old tapes that were created decades ago. Neither do you. And so it's time for you to be the phoenix, for you to orchestrate, like the phoenix, build your funeral pyre and call into the death that creates the new rebirth, those things that no longer serve you. Personality traits that you are so hung up on being, the identities that you take on and then live out as though they're the real you when they're really not. They're created aspects that happened in the twists and turns and ups and downs of your life. There's something far greater that you are inside. And when you remove those things, those obstacles, those barriers, those little barnacles on your boat that were there as armor to protect you from your outside world, your life changes. Your ascension process continues, and you can rise to the highest heights of who you truly are. The highest heights of understanding. The highest heights of peace, of harmony, of joy, of appreciation, of satisfaction and fulfillment. The highest heights. And yes, along with being at a higher vibration is, through law of attraction, law of reflection, law of karma, that your life gets better and easier. Why? Because your vibration makes it so. You attract things that align with that vibration. Like attracts like. In the world of physics, there's no such thing as opposites attract. Get that out of your head. Create the condition within and watch it show up. That is the juicy deliciousness that comes from the rising up of an apparent decline. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. And this is not to make light of the death of a dear departed one. I miss my girlfriend, especially now when her birthday's coming up in December. You allow yourself to feel the pain or the sadness or whatever label you can come to that it expresses most clearly what it is that you feel from their impending absence or their current absence. Reconnect with the true essence of what they are rather than their personality. Light, light, light upon light. Spreading love. And I know there was a rising. So this is your opportunity when you talk about death. Contemplate what has to die in you for you to become your awakened self while you're still here in the physical body, experiencing the third dimension called Earth. Why would you want to do that? So you can up-level, reboot your experience, create the life of your dreams, live what many people think can't be lived based on what they see around them. And there's a lot of density and darkness presenting itself right now. So creating your funeral pyre and being your phoenix rising is the call to action of today's Hump Day Happy Chat. I'm Dr. Valerie Renee Shepherd. Thank you so much. I appreciate those of you who could be here live, and I especially appreciate anyone who's willing to share this out to their communities. Remember, you don't necessarily know what's going on out there. And at any given moment, someone in your sphere of influence is desperately seeking something that you could put out there. You don't have to teach it. You can just make it available. So please share. And I'm still closing the Hump Day Happy Chat with one of my favorite suttas from the Buddha, the prayer of loving kindness. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be safe. May all beings be happy. May all beings awaken to the light of their true nature. And may all beings be free. Emotional freedom is what we're talking about. It's not about geopolitical stuff. It's about rising from the ideas that we have that are low consciousness and keep us in a vibration that doesn't serve us. Be the phoenix. Fly away. Many blessings. Thank you so much for being here. Bye now.